Hey guys, welcome to the part 4 of my Fire Mage patch 10.15 guide. This one is going to be focused on AoE, and I'm going to be doing this very quickly so we can fit everything in and it's not super long. Uh, First off, just right off the bat, talents. This is like the general talent tree that everybody's been playing. It's a good talent tree. I have no like suggestions as to what to change or anything like that. There might be things to change in the future for M plus specifically, like for example, if you want to sacrifice a bit of AoE damage and grab some single target, that might be an option. But as of right now, this is the AoE build and M plus build that people have been playing. So yeah. Uh, as for like gameplay things, instead of going through concepts like one by one, I actually had a video. Pardon the cam, I didn't realize it was recording me, so morning here. But I say morning, but it's 4 p.m. Don't worry about my demon schedule. Um, but yeah, so going into a pack or something like that, it's you just kind of throw out your Phoenix Flame, get a heating up, apply debuff to everything, and the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be setting ourselves up for our first combustions, right? If you have combustion on the pull like this. If you don't, obviously, we'll have to get here at some point. But yeah, uh, the first thing we want to do is be casting Meteor, because the idea with Meteor is we want to be casting it so that it lands in combust, so that it gets guaranteed crit. Meteor damage calculation is on landing, not on cast. It's 3-second travel time, but it scales with haste. It's really more like 1.5 if you have like a decent amount of haste or something like that, Um, but in double us, it's very quickly, so be aware of that. But yeah, so we Phoenix Flame, and then we're going to Meteor, and then we're going to Scorch and Combust before the Meteor lands. So you'll see me doing that. I even throw a Fire Blast. I do have an action tracker here, by the way, on the right side, if you can barely see it. But yeah. And from here on out, we're basically just weaving in our Scorch, Fire Blast, Flame Strike combos and stuff like that. Don't overcap Phoenix Flame. They do regenerate quite quickly in AoE, obviously. Same with Fire Blast. So make sure you stay on top of those. It's very important. In AoE, it's like you're a lot more likely to be going down to like one charge of Phoenix Flame, even if you started with 3 in Combust, just because they regenerate so quickly. So don't be shy from pressing your Phoenix Flame. Don't go below 1, obviously, and don't press it like needlessly. If it's one charge and a half, don't press it because you're not in danger of overcapping. If you're 2.5 charges, you're in danger of overcapping if you get a proc. So you probably want to not get to 2.5 charges. Probably spend it before you get to 2.5, but yeah. In any case, we're just weaving in our flame strikes like we've talked about. Scorch, fire blast, flame strike, all that good stuff still works. So make sure you're doing that. When you're hardcasting a flame strike in AoE, during combustion, this applies to a bit of out of combustion, but mainly in combustion. You need to make sure that you do not convert any heating ups to hot streaks during the hardcast, because if you do that, you will munch a proc. I know that in single target, you can be casting a pyroblast and you convert heating up to hot streaks, so then you do like pyro like together, and then you do another pyro after that. You cannot do that in AoE. It doesn't work with flame strike. I have a different example to show. I have that example showing you later in the video, but you'll see here I'm just casting a flame strike and I'll let it hit before I do the second flame strike, and I do not cast fire blast in between them, right? You could do a scorch in between the flame strikes, or you could be jumping and like spamming flame strike if you want. That's also the option, so that you don't have a gap in your rotation. It's up to you what you do, but yeah, jumping is probably the most ideal thing, so you don't have a gap. In the case, yeah, just throwing out our resources, nothing crazy. I don't know why I hardcast that one, that was a mistake. But yeah. Once we're at a combust, we're kind of doing the same deal as in single target, right? Where we're trying to bridge our combustions. Ideally, we don't want to be casting fillers. Our fillers in AoE are like Flame Strike. I believe it's like 3 or 4 targets plus that you want to be casting it. I will make a note on this. On the APL currently, it's hard casts like fireballs in AoE. I don't know why, but it doesn't make sense to me, and I have a hunch it's to do with how like the heating up hot streak during Flame Strike hardcast works. I don't have a confirmation about this or anything like that, but I don't understand why we would be casting fireballs instead of flame strikes. Take this with a grain of salt, I suppose, but I've asked many people, and casting flame strike definitely seems like the better move to do on higher number of targets. In any case, we're going to our SKB. You'll notice once again I'm not converting heating up to hot streak with a fire blast here. I'm just letting the flame strike do it for me. And then yeah, just weaving in Scorch, Fire Blast, Flame Strike, Flame Strike, Scorch, Fire Blast, Flame Strike, Flame Strike, nothing fancy. And yeah, just throwing out our Phoenix Flames afterwards. You'll notice here I do cap on my Phoenix Flames, so I probably should be sending a Phoenix Flame here after my Flame Strike, which is exactly what I do. And then yeah, I have a bit of Fire Blast charges here, so make sure you want to spend them. I have quite a bit extra due to Double Lust. Now that Double Lust is gone, we're back to more like normal rotation, so to speak. So this could be a good showcasing for like an SKB sequence, right? So if you have no heating up, what you can do is like you can do a Flame Strike, and then what's the first thing you're gonna do, right? You can't wait and do nothing. You could press Fire Blast during this cast if you wanted to. I prefer to just go into a Scorch and just do what we're usually not used to, right? Scorch, Fire Blast, Flame Strike, Flame Strike. Scorch, Fire Blast, Flame Strike, Flame Strike. Very basic, right? That's like the non-heating up SKBs. As far as I know, this is as good as it's gonna get for non-heating up. Yeah. As for heating up SKBs, hopefully I'll get another one in a second, but there's two versions, but I'll touch on it as we get there. Shifting power because we're low on resources, right? There's no like hard rule like press it on cooldown or anything like that. Just don't press it in combust, and definitely don't be like overcapping Fire Blast or Phoenix Flame charges during the cast, so make sure you put those on cooldown beforehand. Here I get another SKB, again it's a non-heating up. I do have combustion coming up in 2-3 seconds. Maybe it could have been a vibe if I just started casting like 1 or 2 fireballs, just so I could chain them together. That could have been a nice option. But instead I just opted to go for the Flame Strike. I would have needed like 2 seconds cooldown reduction, so it might have been the play to just wait. It's very minimal either way. Since we know our kindling value is a lot less than AoE because Flame Strike doesn't work with kindling. At least I don't think, right? Maybe it does. Let me check. Yeah, okay. Flame Strike doesn't work with kindling. I have to double check. But yeah, weaving in just Scorch, Fire Blast, Flame Strike, doing that stuff. Combustion is now up, so I press it. Definitely should have done a precast into this combustion. I don't know why I just pressed it. That's very troll. But always precast into your combustions, right? It's just at a free cast. And yeah, just kind of weaving in stuff, right? Don't overcap your charges as much as possible. Don't convert during your hard cast. That'll be very bad. Yeah, just doing this over and over again. I'm trying to see when I get a heating up SKB here so I can show. You'll see here I'm on 7 stacks and I'm quite low on resources. Like I only have 1 Phoenix Flame charge, but I have DB. In AoE, it's a lot better, like it's a lot more okay to go to 0 charges on Phoenix Flame if you really need to. Because A, we're not generating our 4-piece as much, so we're not in danger of overcapping. And B, also, like, you know, Phoenix Flame regenerates very, very quickly in AoE thanks to Phoenix Reborn. You'll see it in this case here. So in this case, I'm at 7. I have like, I don't want to use a Fire Blast because I'm low on them as well. We want to save those for Combust, right? So I throw out my Phoenix Flame and then I go for a DB and I get 8. And now I'm like very ready for this Combustion or this SKB. I guess this is kind of like a heating up SKB. It's a bit of a cheater heating up SKB, but yeah. So you'll see here I'm hard casting. I do cast 1 Fire Blast to refresh my Feel the Burn. And then it's the same thing, right? Scorch. Here I go for, because I already have a hot streak, I would do Scorch, Flame Strike, Scorch, Fire Blast, Flame Strike. And then obviously you end up with a heating up, so you can convert it and then do a Flame Strike. So the heating up SKB and the hot streak SKB very, very, very similar in this version. Just make sure you don't waste any heating ups. The good way to check is, do I have 4 SKB stacks and a heating up after my SKB? If the answer is yes, then you did something right. If the answer is no, you did something wrong, right? Oh, also casting 2 Scorches, right? Like that's pretty baseline. One note about this, I will mention, there is a more, like, there's a slightly different version called an aggressive heating up SKB, or what I call an aggressive heating up SKB for AoE. I actually had to record it separately because I thought about it later. To have the example here. So in this version, like I have a heating up right and I'm casting a pyro. In this version here, you're going to like not refresh your Feel the Burn straight away. So you're going to be pressing heating up, right? Same thing, Scorch, Flame Strike. And then you snipe the extension and then you Flame Strike again. And then you just dump your Fire Blast charges in SKB. So just to show it again. So Flame Strike, Scorch, Flame Strike. So a very similar start to the other one, right? And then you snipe your Feel the Burn extension. and then you go into like just Fire Blast, Flame Strike, Fire Blast, Flame Strike. You can see the sequence over here. Why is this more aggressive and why do I even mention this? It's because here I'm fitting 5 Flame Strikes into Combust and the heating up at the end of it instead of 4 and the heating up. The main difference is just my Fire Blast, like, I have extra Fire Blasts here. And also, like, I'm not refreshing my Feel the Burn. Like in the previous version, if you rewind, like if you want, I did press Fire Blast in the middle of the hard cast, which is why I was like a fake kind of. Um, but here, like I'm not, right? I have my heating up like naturally from whatever spell hit beforehand, like a Phoenix Slam or something, right? In this case, yeah, a Phoenix Slam. Or I guess I did Fire Blast, but yeah. Close this now. Oh, actually, wait. I had like a non-aggressive heating up. Let me show you that just in case. Okay. So yeah, here, like Fire Blast, Scorch, Flame Strike, and then I did a Flame Strike. I did Flame Strike, Scorch, Flame Strike, Fire Blast. Like you could have just done Scorch, Fire Blast, Flame Strike, same as I showed you earlier. Yeah. The order is obviously a little different, but it doesn't matter. It just comes down to the number of SKBs you're casting or the number of hot streaks you're casting in the SKB. But yeah, at this point we're just kind of weaving in our abilities, right? It's nothing fancy. So this is kind of something I mentioned earlier, very quickly in passing. The thing I talked about not converting, heating up SKB, like heating up to hot streak during a flame strike cast, that's a very big no-no in Combust. Outside of Combust, it's not as bad. Why is this the case? So you only munch a heating up if both the flame strikes crit, right? Both the one you're hard casting and the instant cast one. If both of them crit, you waste a heating up. Now in Combustion, obviously that's a guaranteed chance. Outside of Combustion, that's a very low chance. Excuse me. Like if I show you my crit percentage, I'm at 26%. So the odds of them both critting is like, what is it? 0.26 times 0.26. I'm dog shit at math, but that doesn't sound like a very big number. I want to say that's like 26 divided by 4. So 7.5% roughly, right? Something like that. So very low chance that they both crit. So in this case, I opt to refresh my Feel the Burn with a Fire Blast during my Flame Strike cast, and I do end up casting both of them. I don't know whether they both crit or not. Obviously, like it's saying they both crit or not is a bit weird because some of the hits crit, some of them don't. It's more of a percent chance calculation in the background based on your crit, but that's effectively the same thing. Okay, here you see me again. I do it once again, and then yeah, just Flame Strike. Refresh Feel the Burn. I cast Meteor. Scorches. I didn't cast a Phoenix Flame here in the Combust. The SKB was very short and I felt like it was very awkward to cast, so I didn't opt for it. Not a big deal, but not ideal either. It might have been like okay because of like Phoenix Flame management, like we've talked about before, right? Saving them for outside of Combust is a good idea sometimes. And yeah, you're just kind of like weaving in these SKBs and just doing that. Now the bug that I wanted to show you from earlier, the Hot Streak plus Hardcast Flame Strike, like where it can munch. This time I did it in Combust on purpose to show you guys. So I'm Flame Striking. I press Fire Blast, so now I have a Hot Streak in Flame Strike, and they both cast at the same time. But I end up with a Heating Up only, even though they both cast at the same time. This is the bug. It is just to do with like no grace period. You can't play around it. You can't, or well, I shouldn't play. You can't play around it. I should say there's nothing you can do to prevent this bug from happening other than not being in that situation, right? So don't convert heating up to hot streak. Yeah, throughout your meteors in combust. Yeah, there's nothing too much fancy here. One thing I will note is if your meteor is going to hit a lot more targets, if you don't wait for combust, like let's say you have like 8 targets available, but they're all like 10% and you're not in combust, just throw meteor, because hitting 8 targets is much more powerful than hitting 1 target, even if it's in combust, right? Because 8 times the damage versus like critting is double the damage. So yeah, bit of common sense there. But that's generally the gameplay. You shouldn't be hardcasting Flame Strike very much often anyway. Like in this clip you can see I'm barely ever hardcasting Flame Strikes on packs. And that's without me like going for like execute, scorch, snipes, stuff like that, and actual keys that you could do. And also like there's downtime in keys where you can regenerate your combust cooldown. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to cover. I hope this has been helpful. I'm sorry if it's been a bit chaotic. There's a lot of things going on with the spec and the gameplay. I tried to keep it organized, but yeah. If there's any questions or something you didn't understand, feel free to ask in the comments, and I'll, explain it a bit better, do a better job of that. But yeah, I've hoped this fire guide has been helpful for you guys. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.